Hey everyone, it's Matt Michaels here. I have Simon Street and DJ Impact with me on the Vegas Bad Boy Squad, but we're proud to bring back one of our favorite people, one of our
Oh, please.
dearest, sweetest people. Goldy Locks, you know, she is not only someone who was involved with wrestling, let's put it out there, she was involved with wrestling. But really, what amazes me about her is she is one of the most talented singers I've ever heard, and she's a great songwriter. And today we want to focus on something that is very important, a new song that she's released. I'm going to let her talk about it a little bit. But let me also introduce, besides Goldilocks here, she was kind enough to get her guitarist, Serge Drobin.
Yo.
We had Rod Saylor, who's the drummer for Goldilocks' band. And we have a special guest for you wrestling fans out there with us, one of the most unforgettable characters in WCW, Kwee Wee, Mr. Alan Funk, who is amazing. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Goldilocks, let's start by just telling us a little bit about the actual song, what it is, and how you came about this.
And all of you, DJ Impact and Matt and Simon, thank you for having me back on. And sweet, I wouldn't use as an adjective, but thank you. I think anybody on this podcast would use that one, but I appreciate that. The song "All to You," and you have my other bandmates with me here, and Alan, who will talk about his part in this video. So, and let me ask you this: when I'm talking, I'm looking at Rod Saylor. Is that what I'm supposed to be looking at? Because that's like my best friend and very weird. But exactly, okay. I didn't know. Like Rod already knows the story, so it's like, Rod, let me tell you the story. You were there. So the song, we have a revolving door. We don't always like to in a band, as you guys know, wrestling, entertainment, music. It's always a challenge to not keep people, but maybe have kindred spirits or alignments with folks. Either they hate your guts eventually or you hate theirs, and it's hard to find a team of people throughout the years that you love. You look at Alan, we bring Alan in, we bring in James Storm, we bring in Chase Stevens. These are people who I met in 2002 who are lifetime friends, just because you have something in common, and then usually find out other things about them, align with you and your beliefs, or what you love. So you kind of tend to keep the good ones around for a long time. That being said, we had a bandmate who was short-lived, and you got to look at the positive things on that, which is he gave us a great track, a great instrumental, and just said, hey, why don't you see what you can do with this? So fast forward, I listened to it. I called him up and I said, do you believe in God? And he's like, well, yeah, of course. And I just said, well, that's not of course. A lot of people believe in all kinds of different things, and that's cool. But I said, I feel as though this is something that's calling me and inspire me. And I just said, let me run with it if it's all right. And then the next time he was in town, I played it for him, and he was like, wow, I like what this is. And I don't take credit for writing it. I do believe in God. I'm a Christian. And I just really felt something come through me, honestly. And I'm not trying to sound goofy or gimmicky or whatever, but I felt if Jesus Christ were alive today, and you don't have to be Christian to know, who he is or know the message, this is a story that he would tell. Things are kind of crappy right now, especially, and it's funky. And I just felt like if this dude could come back, the guy that I was taught, this hippie, long hair, sandal wearing cat that hung out with 12 other dudes on a boat drinking wine, and occasionally a prostitute entered in with a tax collector. I'm like, what would this guy, how would he want to tell his story? And so the song wrote itself with that poster that some of us knew as a kid, Footprints in the Sand. It's relevant today with anybody's. It's like, I'm hot at you. You got heat, I got heat, because where are you? And then the person, or Jesus in the poster, is saying I didn't abandon you, I was carrying you. That's why there's one set of footprints. That's the first part of the song. And the second is just a pop for the children's book, The Giving Tree. If you think about that tree gave all, and all of you have somebody in your life that you could look back at the end of time and say, this person, whether it be my mom, dad, or my maker, or a guardian, or a teacher, you know, they gave everything to me, and that's what made the second ending of the song. And then we shot a music video for it, and then it was kind of boring and predictable. And I had some bad turns of events in my life personally happen with somebody I was dealing with who was very close to Satan. Anyway, I just thought, you know what, let's scrap that video and let's do a video for suicide prevention. Let's make it into something really edgy and see how many of our friends that we can get to do this. And I'm just absolutely overwhelmed with gratitude at the amount of people who took their time and didn't want anything for it. In fact, you know, Alan, I gave you something. I gave Chase and James, and you guys all palmed it back to me. You know, like, and you spent your time and your gas money, and you know, a few probably broken ribs, and it turned out really really magnificent. And these guys here, Serge came in right when that was happening, you know, promoting this and working really hard to put the word out there as you guys are having us on. Rod Saylor played the most amazing drums on this, did the first video, wasn't mad when I said, can we just do something else? Just like always a team player. So that's the gist of it. It was a beautiful song that was inspired, but I just think like that, you know, in wrestling and in sports entertainment, just the edgier something is, the more you're going to get attention. And suicide and depression and people that are bipolar or people that need to be medicated or whatever, like that's not a pretty sight, you know, that there's a lot of bullshit that goes in that. And we just wanted to put something out there to really create a conversation.
I'm going to play the video in just a little bit, but I want to just kind of talk about my own experience and why this video kind of hit me.
Please.
It actually was this past, I think it was April, has been 25 years. I was in college and I just met a friend who we happened to do a same crew. We were working together on this lighting crew. And I needed to go to a rehearsal for a show I was doing. And I left a voicemail for him on his answering machine, the good old analog answering machines back in the day. And I hadn't heard back from him. And it had been a couple of days. And then the head of the lighting crew, the teacher who was in control of it, he told us that the guy had hung himself in his dorm room.
I'm sorry, bro.
Yeah, it's still tough because Scott was, man, he was a good guy. And as I guess there was a note, and it was related to the fact that a girlfriend that he had had since he was in high school had broken up with him. And that was it. What hit me then is I felt very selfish because I realized that on the day he did it, my voice was either on that voicemail because those machines just played out loud. So he was either doing it right then or his body was still hanging while I was asking something for myself. And that's when I realized how important it is to listen to people, to really ask and really, empathize with what people might be going through, because we tend to have that selfish motivation. And a lot of times, and in his case, he had no signs. You could not tell at all. He was never
the ones that do it. Those are usually the ones that do it. And that's nothing, nothing 25 years later, you're still haunted by that. Like, honey, you didn't do anything wrong. And, you don't even know maybe the last voice that he heard before he went to be where he, with the Lord, was yours. So, maybe flip that around and say, I learned something about maybe checking in on my friends a little bit more, but I bet more than anything that you were the last thing that he heard and felt a bit of comfort before he left the earth. So I'm sorry that happened to you. I know that we all have stories like that, and it's just, what somebody's going through like that is just, it's horrendous. And that's why we did this, is so that you come on and you tell your story, and maybe some 5-10 people hear that story and they think, you know what, I'm going to check on that friend or that relative or whomever more often.
Yeah. And that's why when I saw the video and just the progression of it and just how beautifully done it was, I thought this was very important. And when you reached out and asked, could we do this? I'm like, we got to make sure the video, we can play it.
Oh,
So,
I really and then dig into like these other guys and their involvement, because
absolutely.
they made this video. They made it.
Absolutely. So DJ, if we can roll the video, and then when it's done, we'll start talking about the process and what, went into making it with everyone.
Alan and Serge and Rod, thanks so much for your time on a Sunday, guys.
No worries.
For having us.
you. Gave it to you. Gave it to all to you. Gave it all to you.
Well, that's a downer.
No, it was a very good video.
That's some depressing stuff, brother. Thank you for letting us show that. I wasn't expecting that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I guess my first question. Let's go to Alan on this. That was a really well done fight sequence. And boy, knowing how hard it is to cram a story into a fight into X amount of time in a music video, that's so impressive. How did you, James, and Chase kind of go about coming up with that actual sequence?
Not be honest with you, it was kind of on the fly. Goldie was she pretty much let us choreograph pretty much most of it. They kind of gave us the direction they wanted to go, and sorry man, that video, every time I watch it,
Yeah, dude, I'm with you.
It reminds me of a couple people.
Yeah.
So Chase is awesome, James is awesome, and we just I don't think it could have been done any better. And I had two good guys to work with, so we made it look good.
You guys just crushed it, and I'm sorry for I know what you're feeling, Alan, so I apologize for that. I don't mean to trigger anything. We don't with that. These guys just nailed every single transition. Like it was just like we did it a couple of times for every transition, but like just the amount of wisdom and history that they all had, it was just like butter. Like, and it actually made the crew depressed because they're like, why can't we work with people like this every time? You know what I mean?
Sports entertainers don't get enough credit, but most of the guys I've worked with over the years, they pretty much one take, two takes if something really, if they didn't really like the first one for whatever reason. But it's that it was easy for us. I believe Chase and James, if they were here with us, they'd probably say the same thing, that it's just what we do. It was kind of easy for us, I guess. But it looked so much better in that video than what actually I thought it was as the time we were shooting it.
No, dude, it looked really. We watched it from behind the scenes, and then like Rod here is like, because we were on a skeleton crew. This was the last scene that we shot, so like our budget was, we never even had a budget. We just like came up with money and like shot it over 9 months. But the last time was just a skeleton crew, and like Rod was running around like, carrying the lights from this and that and trying to move it. And then at one point in time, the cops came, like right in the middle of the scene. And I saw this like female officer walking down Rod's, driveway. And I ran up to her and I was like, shh, and she just like looking at me like, what? And I just said, this is suicide prevention PSA video that we're doing. And this is, and I named off like Alan and Chase and James and everything. And she just looked at me and she was like, and I'm leaving now. I'm sorry. And I was like, bring the rest of the officers down there. And Chase was hysterical because he was like, who called the cops on us? He said, I mean, usually
somebody driving by, I think, right? They said
somebody or a neighbor. And he's like, when I murder and beat the shit out of somebody, he said, I like to have it really well lit.
Yeah, the lights didn't give it away or anything. No.
But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No. I actually interrupted you. The only thing I was going to say is the one thing I really appreciated with the video that I thought it was amazing. It brought memories, obviously, of people that, whether it be yourself or other people who struggle with depression, who, you know, it's suicidal ideations. It does happen. But I like that the video was very intelligently put together. And you could see that in so many places in the video. The way it was designed was just really good. Even to the last scene where the guy takes off his jacket, his shirt says, you know, choose life. You know, the little small nuggets in there that happen throughout the video, and the scenarios that you put in the video are progressive with scenarios that go on now. One particular that stood out to me because, you know, I have a nephew who used to be a niece, and her transition was very, very difficult. She had support, but for her, you know, those people, you know, are oftentimes marginalized, you know, and only now they have a voice, and they have, you know, a place to where we can get support. We can get the support that we need to make this transition. And the fact that you put that in your video, I greatly appreciate that, because there's been tons of people in my personal life who have either gone so down the road to commit suicide, or just, you know, are trapped in a body that's, even though it's theirs, it's not who they are, to just put it bluntly. And but like I said, the video, what was I guess you could say, the story behind really putting that together so well? Like, I know you said 9 months you kind of put it together, but I'm pretty sure there must have been something that it was almost damn near perfect, the way I look at it. Like the way the sequences went in. How did you do that?
You know, like I said, I talked to Rod, and Rod we already shot this like waterfall gimmick, you know, at Burgess Falls, Rod, remember?
Yeah.
And we already did all this, and, you know, we have a really tight-knit team as a band, even with our newer member. Like, we talk about everything. We're all business partners in things. And, you know, I just kept calling up Rod and saying, like, what if we did this? And what if we did that? And the fight scene with Alan is actually filmed at Rod's house. Like, he's got like this hut in the back of his house. And I was like, this would be just, you know, perfect. But I will say that we wanted to try to, as the video unfolded, we wanted to try, Simon, to implement as many different walks of life as we could. And you know, you don't need to like agree with this person or that person or their lifestyle or their religious background or their politics to be able to empathize, and we hope to identify with something that somebody else is going through. And when it comes to your nephew, you know, when you look up, it was the producer's wife that said, I said something about let's have a kid hurt themselves, and the producer's wife said, why don't you make the child, you know, LGBTQ? And it was really difficult to find somebody that would play the part that was authentic. You know, we had plenty of actresses and actors that wanted to do it, but they weren't really in that culture. And so here's this kid who like was one of the youngest drag queens ever. And actually Eric Bischoff, Alan, and you guys know Bischoff, Harvey, I don't know his production company name, Heavy Bishop, whatever. They had already done a documentary on this he goes by different pronouns forever the day. And again, it's not to get into that, it's to get into like somebody and how they feel. And at the end of the day, whatever somebody believes in, if they were on a ledge, you'd want to talk them off. If you saw them getting ready to hurt themselves or hang themselves or blow their brains out, to be graphic and true, you would say everything that you could. I believe humans are all basically most of us are good. And so the producer's wife said you should make, if you can, LGBTQ. And we kept trying to find all these people. But Simon, when you look up teenager committing suicide, if you just Google that, and I don't advise that you do, but if you do, it's an 8 to 12-year-old male. It's a boy, and usually gay, who hangs themselves from a ceiling fan. I mean, that's just what you find. And if every Google image is a kid hanging themselves from a ceiling fan, like what's cooking? Like what can we do to like listen more? You know, like DJ Impact said, Matt said that in the beginning of the podcast, you know, what can we do to listen more to people, and like what signs are there? And you look back in retrospect and you think, you know, I'm sure Alan visibly was upset, you know, watching it, and he could tell you stories about some friends that he's lost, or Rod, or any of us. And it's like looking back in hindsight, not to feel bad about it, but like, what could we have done differently to help? And unfortunately, the people that usually do take their lives are the ones where there's nothing on their wall or their social media. There's no cut marks. They seem fine. And then to answer your other question, we just kept piecing it together. And then I didn't want to, but like just circumstances unfolded where I ended up having to edit that. And it was 98 hours of Rod listening to me losing my mind every day. Yeah, it was really tough to edit that. And it was just a shit storm of all kinds of things going wrong, and color corrections were whack. And I was pulling from 9 different renderings and crashing my computer and like thinking we wanted to release it on Easter. But then the COVID hit, and it was just like, do we really want to put this? This is so awful. Like we waited until it seemed like the right time and then put it out on not Chris Jericho. Damn it. What's the other one? God. Not on his death or birthday. Not Chris Benoit's. I'm sorry. We put it out on Chris Benoit's birthday. Not the death, or not like the anniversary of when he did something that we all know he was out of his mind when he did it, but like to try to celebrate something and put over his son for following in his footsteps.
Well, I tell you what, your hard work paid off, because
you guys are sweet.
No, it really was good. When the first time I watched it, I thought of the last scene of like, remember that Aerosmith video where I think it had Alicia Silverstone in it, and she was about to jump off or I think she did jump off the bridge, but
Yeah,
it had that really awesome 90s almost type of vibe, but maybe it's just me because of my age. I really enjoyed it, and I did watch it 3 times, like in a row, just to get the capture. So it's really good.
You pointed out the Choose Life, and you got a lot of that, and like the whole thing there is that's like a George Michael lookalike. Yeah. And George Michael had a song called "Wake Me Up Before You Go," Wham, with Andrew Ridgely. If you go back, like that was their shirts that they wore, and the Choose Life shirts. Choose Life shirts were made from a friend of theirs who wanted to start the first ever suicide prevention campaign. So when there was We Are the World and the Band-Aid Feed the World, that song, whatever, all that stuff, and they did Live Aid for Willie Nelson, like the Wham, Wake Me Up Before You Go, their friend wanted to do these shirts in support of all of the people back then who were just starting to get HIV and AIDS, and they didn't understand it or know they were just killing themselves left and right. And that's what that came from. So we wish we could have gotten like Andrew Ridgely, but that was an expensive flight. So we had somebody do a lookalike, and then ask Rod about the end with the note and the hashtag, because that's really brilliant.
Oh, good gravy.
It was. That wasn't nothing to do with me. Tell your story, Rod. What'd you say?
I got put up on the spot. Make something up. You got to write something quick. It came out like, well, I can't write this long thing. I got to write something really quick and really short. And that popped into my head. It was it seemed fitting.
It was a strong message. That was for sure, for something that you had to think of you know what they say, seconds count.
Yeah.
And I will say that message is probably something that all of us in our hearts, we do feel if we ever are in that situation. We have somebody that, is right there, we're like, just stay, please.
Absolutely.
I'll walk with you together, and we'll figure this out. So like I said, the whole video, intelligently, brilliantly put together, transition to transition, went with the lyrics. I mean, it just, and that's just because I'm the type of person, I love when everything musically and video and fight choreography comes together. I'm big on that, and you guys executed that diligently.
Cool. Open the floor to our other guests as well. Since I've monopolized. What's the word?
Monopolized.
Monopolized, whatever. Yeah, asshole.
Let's see, Serge, you're newer to the band. What is it like coming into the scenario of being a guitar player and joining a group that has some kind of camaraderie, and then seeing the things that they've done? Where how excited are you to kind of just get COVID out of the way and be able to play on the road with them? And
that's a funny story, because I ended up like basically why, like I'm from LA, so I ended up moving from LA to Nashville like on a whim. I went back home for like 3 weeks and I gave up my apartment and I was like, well, I might as well try this Nashville thing. And I just drove across the country with like all the money I had left in my savings. And then I ended up like getting a job out here because what I was doing in LA was just all like live shows for like rappers and all that stuff. And I actually like wasn't even playing as much when I lived there because I just got so caught up doing that. And then I saw the Facebook ad while I was like working a construction job, and I was just like, oh, this looks like a good thing. So, I've already been through the ringer over there. So when she told me everything that they were doing, I was like, yeah, this is definitely something I'm trying to do. It ain't no joke. So, but I didn't even see the video until like the night before she released it, and we were having just like a totally casual hang, and then she's like, yeah, I got to show you the video real quick. It's super dope. And I sit down and watch it, and I'm just like, okay. So, for me, it was, it's a great video. When I saw it, I was like, this is obviously a powerful message, and I support it. And I'm also a Christian. So the first time I heard the song, I cried. Like, I don't really cry to songs that much, but, I was like, shit, man. So, but it's been good. It's been fun. Sorry?
I said, you big baby. I never cry.
Well, I don't know. There's like, I feel like I can count on my hand how many songs in my life I've like cried to the first time I heard it. And I was like, man, this one got me,
The older I cry, or the older I get, I'll cry at a damn commercial anymore.
Fair enough.
Crazy, Alan. I never understood why people cried at weddings until, now I do photography also as a side hustle. And
I know why they cry at weddings.
The realness.
But I wasn't quite going down your personal story lineage, Rod, of your marriages. But
when they forgot their prenuptial agreement.
Right?
What I was going to say is just that the older that we get, we realize, mortality and how life truly is very precious. And I was agreeing with Alan that I can't shoot a lot of weddings, or even we play at them, and I get caught up in it just because I think like, my God, like some guy found a bitch that he can stand for like more than 5 minutes. Like, wow, this is amazing. And that's why I cry, because I'm just how can people like find each other? It's so hard for people there's a lot of people that find somebody and kind of settle, but like to really find somebody that you want to marry, that's why I don't care whatever race or creed or color or preference or whatever, like more power to you if you can find somebody that you dig these days. Because it just seems like the cancel culture is just in the swipe
cancel culture.
Like you get on a dating app, you guys, and it's like if you don't like the point of somebody's ears, they get
a left swipe.
But yeah. I just wanted to make sure that everybody here got a chance to tell their story or talk about their involvement or promote, if that's cool, just what they're doing, you guys, and what you have coming up. And I did notice you did have another prevention post I saw on Instagram a few back. Like, who else did you have on your show that was promoting prevention?
Well, last year, it was at All In or Double or Nothing. I'm sorry, here in Vegas. And it was at StarCast. RVD was doing a panel, and he just happened to mention, boy, I'd like to go on a podcast and talk about depression, anxiety, suicide, that kind of stuff. And Sin City Steve with the show was in the audience, and he texted me right away. And I had a relationship with Rob. He'd already done the show. And so I reached out to him, and within a matter of a week or so, we did an episode with RVD about the struggles. And it really hits home. I deal with depression and anxiety. I never knew I had until I was diagnosed just a handful of years ago, and that itself helps me answer some questions about why I've felt certain ways during the years, or what's going on. And so it's very important, that we get that message out there, and that people know that you can always reach out to someone. There's always someone to talk to. There's the suicide prevention number. And there's so much waiting for you to know that we're here. Everyone is here for you. The scariest thing is actually reaching out if no one knows it. Let's start with Alan. What are you up to nowadays, and what have you gotten going on?
Well, I don't really know how much I'm allowed to talk about this, but you remember Lenny and Lodi from WCW? And then Lodi was with me in TNA. We're working on doing some kind of group faction. We're actually talking with AEW and through Arn Anderson, because Lodi trains his son. And then we're reaching out to Impact Wrestling with Scott D'Amore, which, all of us know him. So, and Chris Jericho knows all of us. So hopefully, something may work out. We're trying to do indies just to get the ring rust off. And, we're all in still pretty good shape for old guys. So I think I'm the youngest at 49. I think Lenny's a couple years older. I think Lodi might be a couple years older, but we can still go, and we can work with these young guys. So might help them out and see if we can get a couple more years out of our careers.
Well, if anyone is listening who was a fan of you guys, and I'll just throw it out there, please hashtag, put it out. Let's get you guys into AEW or Impact, and because I want to see you guys again, man. You guys were so entertaining back then, and you guys, when you find good people and good workers and people who know the business and could help mentor, my God, there's no reason that you guys should not be snapped up like that, man.
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead, Goldy.
Have you seen these guys? Like, if he whipped off his shirt right now, I mean, I'm not asking you to, but like,
I can already see his traps and his biceps. He's ready.
I had these guys on my podcast. And I was like,
I mean, I just turned 49 in July, man. I'm probably the best shape of my life. Maybe not cardio wise, but appearance wise, I'm about right where I've always been, or if not better. And
That's
minus the hair.
You know what, brother? Some of us went this way at about 19, so it's all good.
Well, when I was Kwee Wee with that hairspray, and my hair was thin then, but that hairspray, I used to take showers. I had clumps of it to fall out. Yep. So I knew it wasn't going to last too long with that crap in there.
Man.
Rod, what have you been up to?
Oh, good grief, man. Well, a lot. I work in HVAC company through mostly the week, but I've been working on tracks day in and day out because we want to come out and hit the ground just running hardcore. Been doing that. I do some virtual band stuff with a friend of mine down in Brazil, which is kind of cool. We do some stuff on the side there, just throwing tracks back and forth, which is kind of neat. I mean, at least the stuff that's going on with COVID, it's actually brought out some pretty neat virtual stuff, which I've been kind of pleased with. And then I've been digging into my studio. I mean, where I'm at right now is one of the control rooms, and Serge has been helping me with it. And we've been just like building room after room, trying to make it as efficient as we possibly can with everything we've got to work with.
Awesome. And Serge, is the day job gone yet?
Not quite. It's coming. It's coming. I mean, I did music full time in LA, so I'm already like in that zone. But obviously, with all the stuff going on, it's like hard to really go like full fledged at the moment. But for me, it's just been like all Patreon stuff with Goldy and Rod, and we're doing that like pretty much 5 days a week at least. And then I got my podcast and all the band stuff and all that good stuff.
If people want to listen to the podcast, what is it?
Just go on YouTube and type in Surge the Purge. Like NWA, Ice Cube with the
awesome.
CHA.
Surge the Purge.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. I usually just have like other musicians or engineers, industry friends on, but I am trying to branch out because I'm running out of friends here. After a while, you start running out of friends to have on your podcast, man. You got to like find their friends, and then so that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, it's one of the most important things, man, and you know this, and everyone in this chat knows this, is friendship, and just finding those right people. And obviously, Goldie, you've done such a great job in having friends who are so talented and amazing. And what does it mean to you to have that base of people, not only to work with, but to be there as, a support base and to be there in your life?
That's what a beautiful question. And that's really everything. And I tell the people that are listening, that aren't on the verge of suicide, but I would think many people, especially now over the last 6 months, really have had depression hit them. And even somebody that I think I'm pretty resilient and, I can handle anything. Like I wake up like, what is this? Like, it's thick and it's heavy and it's funky. And I always say, because I talk to kids in schools with motivational talks, and I tell them, because, you put me over and all of my friends, but, for somebody like my dad, who's just like, let me tell you, I don't have any friends. I'm a loner. I'm like, okay, great attitude. He's going to tell you how everything's going to hell in a handbasket and everything sucks. And but there's so many wonderful people out there. Like I'm speaking to those people who are like, I'm lonely, or I don't have any friends, or I don't have anyone. Like, there are so many great people out there. Pull your head out of your ass and go somewhere. Wear your mask if you need to, but like, go places that there are like-minded folks at, whether it's women that are like, I can't meet a man. And I'm like, have you been to Lowe's or Home Depot some morning when the contractors are there? Like 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Have you freaking been there? Like, you want to find a good man? Like, there's some solid dudes there. Or, I tell the guys, like, have you taken a class at Joanne Fabrics for cake making or something? You want to find a bitch there that can bake, and you'll be the only guy there, I can guarantee. But my point is there's so many wonderful people out there who also are lonely, or who also would love a friend. It's like, strip yourself down and don't just assume like, well, I can't be friends with this person because they're of a different, religious background, or maybe politically, or they don't look or dress the way that I want my friends to. It's like, pick your friends by who picks you, who supports you, who's liking your content, who reaches out to you. Like, make sure that you're really putting them over and checking on them. And don't, we're all victims or guilty of like that chick that you're interested in, but she's kind of blowing you off, and you keep barking up her tree, or like, that bro that you have that kind of cancels on you at last minute, or maybe you have plans, and like,
don't even get me started.
You're gonna get that call, and then they just act like, oh, what we were gonna get together. Like, F those people. Like, they need to just exit stage left. And there's always somebody who might be a little sketchy, or a little, annoying, but like, they're there for you all the time. Like, put your time and energy into those people, and really appreciate the folks who are your friends. And we haven't heard Jack Diddly Doo from DJ. We got to hear you weighing in on this, chat, bro.
Yeah.
Rolling and snoozing. I want to make sure that we hear from him too. But, I'm just beyond grateful. And like, the TNA days, guys, as I said on your podcast, I wish I could go back in time and not have my head up my ass, and have gotten to know Alan better than I did, or Lenny better than I did, or James, or all of the people, and been a better listener.
I just think Goldie was intimidated by my good looks. She was afraid to talk.
You just nailed it. Nailed it, Alan.
That's what it is, man.
It comes out.
It had to be.
Go ahead, honey. I cut you off.
But we reconnected, so it's good.
Yeah, but not only reconnect with people, do everything that you can to support them. And, like you were asking.
And don't ditch your friends for your girlfriend, if you made plans. That's some cuck stuff right there. Don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Not cool.
I want to hear from DJ Impact before we leave, and then we'll respect everybody's time.
Mm-hmm.
Most people say I'm not interested in hearing you right now, DJ Impact. So thank you, Goldy. Thank you for some respect here. I appreciate that.
Oh my gosh.
I was just about to put in my 2 weeks after this episode, but you know what? Because of you, I'm gonna stay here.
I'll show you because you're almost as good looking as me.
No,
Alan, take him on the road with you.
Yeah. I'll take them.
Well, look, only thing I would say first when it comes to the video, that was done excellently. That was I was trying not to get emotional. I was like, come on, man, I gotta be a man here. But I was feeling it inside. I think for people who watch that video, it's going to resonate with them in some way, even if they themselves have not been at a level of depression or thought about suicide. I'm sure they know someone who has, and they would be able to, see this, get inspired by trying to maybe talk to them to think about going the other way. At most even play the video so that they would be able to see that there is hope. So when it comes to that, whatever got you inspired, and if it was by God that did that, that is awesome. That you allow him to use you in that manner. The guys, the musicians, the music was great. I don't listen to a whole lot of alternative music. If anything, I probably listen, and this would probably be a shock for the guys more. I probably listen to more jazz than anything.
Oh, no way.
We've talked about that.
Yeah, but I really was digging the tone and it was just great work with that, and the choreography of the fight scenes on that was just perfect. I mean, you guys are great as a team, so I can continue to build up on that as you come up with different ideas, and the message that you get across will definitely resonate with everyone. So good job on that. Congratulations. And we're going to do everything we can to make sure that we can help get that message out. And, and we thank you all for definitely coming on our show.
Thank you very much for having us. And once again, like Alan will be looking for everything that's coming up with you and Lenny or Lodi, whatever you guys are doing. Like, that'll be really exciting. Maybe they could have you back on with you guys on Vegas BadBoyz, because they're great. And Surge, great podcast that you have. And the content that we're doing on Patreon, the more we're on the road, we'll do more. But there's a lot of wrestling throwbacks on there, and Rod's been doing some really great collaborations too. So if anybody's listening at this point, please go check out all of our friends and continue to support Vegas BadBoyz and subscribe and patronize and share their content. They're great guys. They're always putting out really innovative content that we appreciate.
And now we even have our own app. So
hell no!
Oh, nice.
Really?
Yeah,
that's right.
So, what?
That's right. iPhone or your Android, just go to your app store, put in Vegas BadBoyz with a Z, and we'll pop up. You can keep up with us there as well.
I am going to go tweet that right now. How long did it take you guys to get that going?
Ask DJ. Speak so little. Ask him. It was creator.
It was definitely a process. I mean, altogether about a good 5 weeks, and that's just not developing. But once you get it developed, the process of getting it approved, because Apple is they don't mess around.
You guys are on Instagram too?
Instagram, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is this it? I just downloaded it.
Oh,
thank you for that.
Awesome. Yes.
I get it too. That's really, really cool. Very cool. Well, congratulations on that. That's no easy feat. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Thank you. We appreciate that. We appreciate all the kind words, and
thank you.
Again, we're huge, supporters of all of you guys. Just, a lot of times in entertainment, and I've been around it for such a long time, whether it's been my experience in wrestling, whether it's been my experience in acting or in production, one of the hardest things, like you said, Goldy, is that things kind of flow and transition and people come in and out of your lives. And when you find those people who are just just so golden and so just special. You just want to do everything you can to help them. And, you know, we appreciate you, and we appreciate, you know, Rod and Serge and Alan, everything that you guys, you know, have done in your lives. It matters. And we really want to just continue letting people know to just be out on the lookout, support them. And, you know, it's nothing but love from our end.
Well,
Thanks, man.
Anything we can do for you guys, you let us know, bro.
I do have a question. Where do we get the song from to download or to purchase it?
Well, everywhere, and there are 158 mixes of it. It's Spanish and Japanese. If you go to even the All To You. Oh, you know what? I forgot to ask this. If people make it to this end, this long of it, the podcast, we always ask people, and Matt, this is why, because it's cross promotion, which is great. Let's be transparent. It helps the band. But if you could just go leave a YouTube comment on All To You, and, you know, just say, hey, I heard this song and video on Vegas BadBoyz, and cross promote them. You can talk about their app. You can write hashtag just stay, and, you know, write just something optimistic, or just stay is fine, or I saw you on Vegas BadBoyz. But if you've got some kind word, there's been like 3 or 4 people that have said, you know, I was thinking about taking my own life, and I was Googling things, and this came up, and I read the comments, and there's a lot of like just strangers from all over the world just offering love and support. And you never know, like your words and what you write have power, and you just don't know what you write when somebody randomly looks at your comment. Maybe that identifies with them. I was going to say, you know, please do that. And then also in the description, since it is on Vince Russo's YouTube page, in the description, there's like all of the different versions of the song if you just want to listen to it. If you want to purchase it, of course, I'm sure you could purchase it anywhere at this point. People want to take their cut on that. So thank you for that.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you once again, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you, listeners. Again, please check out, you know, Goldy Locks' music, her podcast, her photography.
Okay.
It's awesome. Remember to keep Alan in mind. Hopefully we see him and Lodi and Lenny again back in wrestling. But for now, please, you know, just go back on the network and see why these guys are so good. And Serge and Rod, you guys keep the music going, man. Serge, keep the podcast up. Rod, you've got your finger in so many pies that I just hope that everything is successful for you, brother.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. And everyone, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.